Concepts, Values and Wise Advice from the Billy Meier Context compiled by David Chance, revised October 18, 2023.
Wrong.
Contact Report 831.
However, I have to explain, as I have already mentioned, that when I use the term wrong, this is actually not correct, because something can only be wrong if, for example, a fact is not reproduced in a realistic, that is to say, truthful manner, or if something materially existing is imitated, that is to say, a duplicate is produced. With the word false, something is interpreted which, if it is something said, is correctly to be described as incorrect, or as an assertion. But if it is something materially objective, then it can only be called false if it is imitated, that is to say, duplicated, because then it is not original but imitated, false, that is to say, faked. When something that exists materially, or something said, is described as wrong, then the word wrong is not correct according to reality, because it can only be described as incorrect and can only be wrong if it is falsified, reproduced in a distorted manner, or imitated, that is to say, duplicated. But in this respect, even those who know the language use the term wrong incorrectly, because they obviously do not understand it correctly, as a result of the interpretation of the language, and therefore also cannot explain correctly that something can only be wrong if what exists is given, and this is reproduced in a different manner than it is in reality and truth, and corresponds to a forgery. But if something that exists is simply assumed to be as it was, or could actually be, then this does not correspond to something false, but to a supposition, an assertion or assumption, etc., or in the case of an imitation, that is to say, a duplicate, and then precisely to a forgery.